So there's this vicar in England whose name is the Reverend Steve Chalk, and he's a bit of a well-known personality because he appears on TV programmes and stuff. But he had this idea around about 1989, 1990 to get different church youth groups from around the country, just for the duration of Advent, to take over a disused restaurant in the local town centre and to sell simple third world meals in exchange for expensive prices. So people would eat something pretty simple but actually pay quite a lot of money for it in order to raise money for third world development projects and also raise awareness at the same time of it. So, I mean, the brilliant ideas are always the simple ones, aren't they? But this idea filtered through to the church I was going to at the time, which was St Stephen's Church of England at East Twickenham. And we got together with Duke Street Baptist in Richmond, and I think the Vineyard in Richmond were involved at the same time as well. And the search began for us to try and find a local restaurant that nobody was using in the run-up to Christmas. So, you know, it was a case of constantly keeping an eye open for disused shops and stuff. And it got to the stage where it was like 8 days before we were going to open and we still didn't have a place to actually run this project on December the 1st. But suddenly this wonderful place came up in Richmond town centre, which had 125 seats in it. But the owners had left very suddenly, so we had to spend quite a lot of time just going around, painting the place, cleaning all the walls. We found a load of cockroaches in a drawer at one point, which of course obviously had to be disinfected and everything, because the whole thing had to be up to standard for health and safety regs and so on. And lo and behold, we got started on December the 1st. And it's one of those projects where I think loads of different people can be involved, because, you know, so long as you can cook reasonably well, you know, lots of different people from all different parts of the church were able to take part in it. And it was a good opportunity for lots of different churches in the area to sort of forge different links there and so on. And I think one of the things that always gets people involved in these things is the amount of fun that you tend to have with your mates and so on. One guy was doing some publicity for us. His name was Tim Mountford, and he had this brilliant idea of, as a publicity stunt, dressing up in a business suit, putting white all over his face and carrying a briefcase which had the logo of the restaurant on the side of it. And he then walked around the town centre in slow motion, carrying this briefcase for a couple of hours. And inside the briefcase he had a tape recorder that was playing lots of tunes by Bing Crosby. So of course, you know, you've got all these Christmas shoppers out throughout December going, what the heck is this guy advertising? And immediately they want to know about it. I don't think I'll ever forget the image of him trying to cross the road at a zebra crossing and all the traffic honking him and saying, get a move on, because they all wanted to carry on driving past. But anyway, by the end of the project, by the end of the project, we'd raised about £7,000, which is about 20,000 New Zealand dollars for third world development projects. But I think that the bigger thing there is it raised the issue in our minds, and all of us who were a little bit younger than we are now, that those things that we learned then have stayed with us throughout our life. But I think the whole thing was summed up for me by one of my mates about a year later when he was recounting the story to somebody. And there was one thing he said that really stuck with me. He said, that month, December 1990, it was really like Christmas all month long. And I went away and I thought about it and I thought, well, let's see. We were hanging out with our friends, we were having fun, we were doing something for God, we were doing something for other people. Yeah, it really was like Christmas all month long that year.
I saw 3 ships come sailing on Christmas Day, on Christmas Day. I saw 3 ships come sailing.